Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I would like to welcome all of you with the Islamic greetings. Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to discuss the topic about bacteria, that how we can control the bacteria. There are many methods to control the bacteria, but in this topic we will mainly focus on physical control of bacteria as well as chemical control of the bacteria. If we talk about why there was a need to control the bacteria, then it is very evident from our general knowledge that bacteria are found everywhere, in the homes, in the industry, in the air, in the soil, in the water, in the fire, in streams, in damp places, on the plants, in the crops. Everywhere bacteria are found. So they can destroy our plants, our gardens, our fruits. So it is essential to control the bacteria. Specifically, it is very essential to control the bacteria at homes in order to avoid different infectious diseases. It is also essential to control the bacteria in industry, particularly in food industry. Otherwise, they will spoil the prepared food like bread or other beverages. In the medical field, it is also essential to control the bacteria because we perform different type of surgeries. And if we do not control the bacteria, the microbial attack can infect the wounds and the patient can be in more severe conditions. So as I discussed earlier, by controlling the microorganism, we can prevent and control the diseases. And spoilage of food and industrial products can also be inhibited by controlling the microbes. As I mentioned earlier, that we will basically discuss two major processes in order to control the bacteria, that is physical control or physical method as well as chemical control or chemical method. Remember one thing, in physical control we use steam to control the bacteria, we can use dry heat, we can use gases, we can use the filtration process with the help of membrane filter, and we can also use the radiations. We should be well aware about the definition of the sterilization when we talk about the physical control. So what is the definition of sterilization? The process by which we use physical agents to control bacteria or microorganisms is called sterilization. It means if we use any one factor from these factors in order to control the microbial attack, we say that we are going to sterilize the particular material. Sterilization is the destruction of all life forms. In this procedure, we try to kill microbes with 100% guaranteed. If we talk about the control of bacteria, high temperature is usually used in microbial labs. I mean to say, in different institutions, there are labs in which we grow the bacteria artificially. So in order to control the bacterial growth in that particular lab, we can use the high temperature. Both dry heat and wet heat is effective in order to control the bacteria, but the mechanism of the control of bacteria with the help of dry heat and wet heat is different from each other. If we talk about moist heat coagulate the protein present in the membrane of the bacteria and other cellular compartments. So it can kill the microbe by the destruction of the proteins. If we talk about the dry heat mainly oxidize their chemicals, particularly the lipid present in the membrane. So in this way they can also be controlled by using dry heat. If we talk about the radiations, the electromagnetic radiations below 300 nanometers are effective in order to control the bacteria. And these radiation which range in these wavelengths, they are known as gamma radiation. So I have written gamma radiations are in general are used. There is a question that why we use the radiation which are below 300 nanometer. As we have read in chemistry, in Planck's quantum theory, that light or energy does not emit from a body continuously, nor it is absorbed by a body continuously. Rather, it is emitted by the body in the form of small packets and it is absorbed by the body in the form of small packets. In case of light, these packets are known as photon, otherwise these small packets of energy, they are known as quantum. So if we discuss the quantum theory, we come to know that energy was directly proportional to the frequency of the photon. When this proportionality is eliminated and is interchanged by equality, E becomes equal to Planck's constant h into frequency. The knowledge of physics also reveals us that frequency is inversely proportional to the wavelength. So we can say frequency is equal to c by lambda, where c is the proportionality constant, which is velocity of light. If we put the value of frequency from equation 2 in equation 1, the equation 1 becomes E is equal to hc by lambda. This equation implies that the energy of the photon or packet is inversely proportional to the wavelength of the photon. I mean to say, if the wavelength is smaller, the energy will be high, and if the wavelength is larger, the energy will be low. As we were using the wavelength below 300 nanometer, it means wavelength is low, energy will be high. Physics tells us that energy is the ability to do work. Less wavelength means having high energy, having high ability to do work. So this wavelength will kill the microbes more effectively as compared to the wavelength which have high value than 300 nanometer. Remember one thing, that up to now we have discussed that we can kill the microbes by using high temperature, dry heat, wet heat and radiation. But think about the compounds which are heat sensitive, like antibiotics, enzymes and hormones. How we can sterilize these substances? If we will use high temperature to sterilize these things, or if we use wet heat or dry heat, they will kill the microbes present in the hormones, antibiotics or serums, but they will also denature these material. So we should look for another process which will kill the microbes but it will not harm the antibiotics, enzymes and serums. So we are left with another process, that is membrane filter. Heat sensitive compound like antibiotics, serums, hormones are sterilized by membrane filter. Now we will discuss the chemical method, that which type of chemicals we can use to kill the microbes or to control the microbes. Broadly, all the chemicals which are used to control the microbes, they are classified into three major categories. They may be antiseptics, they may be chemotherapeutics, or they may be disinfectant. We will discuss all of them in detail one by one. If we talk about the antiseptics, these are the chemicals which are used on the surface of the living organism to inhibit the growth. I mean to say, they are applied on the surface of the living organisms, like on the skin of human being, in order to control the microorganism which will be infectious for skin. The examples of these chemicals may be chlorohexidine or isopropyl alcohol or hydrogen peroxide. And if we talk about the chemotherapeutic, these are the chemicals which are used to kill the microbes which are present inside the body. And remember one thing, these chemicals, they work in coordination with the natural defense system of the body. That is why I have written chemicals which are used in the body of living things to inhibit the growth of microbes, for example sulfonamides, tetracycline and penicillin. Chemotherapeutic and antibiotics work with natural defense and stop the growth of microbes in living tissue. The third group of the chemical was disinfectant. Remember one thing, it is the group of chemical which is used on the surface of the non-living things. For example, we have different types of furniture present in our homes. In order to sterilize this furniture, we apply different chemicals. So these chemicals which are applied on the surface of the dead organism or non-living things, they are collectively known as disinfectant. Remember one thing, these disinfectants, they have the ability to oxidize or reduce the different chemical constituent of microbes. So they will kill the microbes like penicillin, they may be potassium permanganate and chloroform, etc. After discussing the physical method and chemical method to control the microorganism, we will discuss a little bit about the effect, that what kind of impact these chemical or physical methods can have on different type of microbes. So one of the effect is known as microbicidal effect. If we apply a chemical method or physical method and it immediately kill all the microorganisms, then this type of effect of these chemicals or physical method is known as microbicidal effect. So it is the effect which kill the microbes immediately. And if we apply a chemical or physical method to living organism, particularly on microorganism, and these chemicals, they reduce their ability to reproduce, then this type of effect is known as microbistatic effect. So the effect which inhibit the reproductive capacities of the cell and maintain the microbial population at constant size, then this type of effect is known as microbistatic effect. Remember one thing, that different chemicals, they have different mode of action. That is why I have written mode of action of different chemicals and physical agents. Remember one thing, mode of action varies and it can damage by any way. Different chemical, they can destroy or they can harm the cell wall of the microorganism. We are well aware that cell wall is very essential for these microorganisms because it protects these microbes against osmotic lysis. If we can weaken the cell wall in any way, then these microorganisms, they will be more sensitive to osmotic lysis. There are certain other chemicals which can attack on the cell membrane of the microbes. We have already discussed that if there is any damage in the cell membrane, the biomolecule present in the cytoplasm and the electrolyte which were present in the cytoplasm, they will leak out of the cell. So it is important that the life of the bacteria was dependent on these biomolecule and electrolytes. So cell will have to die if its cell membrane is damaged. There are certain other chemicals which can affect the cytoplasmic enzyme. We are also well aware that all the biochemical activities of life of the microorganism, they are controlled by enzyme, and if the enzymes are denatured by chemicals, their growth will be limited. There are certain other chemicals which can affect the chromosome of the microorganism. If chromosome is destroyed, we are also well aware that all the potential activities of the microorganism, they are controlled by its genetic material. So if genetic material is destroyed, it means the bacterial growth will be under control. The last topic which we have to discuss today, that is antibiotic. Remember one thing, it is the combination of two Greek words, anti mean against and biotic mean life. So literal meaning is against the life. So what could be the definition of antibiotics? These are chemotherapeutic chemicals. As I already discussed, chemotherapeutic chemicals are those chemicals which are used to kill the microbes which are present inside the body of living organism, and they kill the microbes in coordination with the natural defense mechanism system of the body. So these are the chemotherapeutic chemical substances which are used in the treatment of infectious disease. So example of antibiotics is penicillin. Now I have used the word infectious disease. What are the infectious diseases? These are the diseases which are caused by microbes, and they can spread from one individual to another individual directly or indirectly with the help of environment. So those diseases which are caused by microbes and spread directly or indirectly from one individual to another individual, they are called infectious disease. One of the best example of infectious disease is foot and mouth disease. Remember one thing, if we talk about the source of antibiotics. So antibiotics are naturally prepared by some living organism. They may be bacteria, actinomycetes, or certain type of fungi. And if we talk about the artificial synthesis of the antibiotics, they can be synthesized in the laboratory artificially. But remember one thing, although they are synthesized in the laboratory, but their origin is still living cells. The other question, that how we should use a antibiotic. Before we use the antibiotic, we should be well aware about two factors, that what is the mode of the action of that particular antibiotic and what would be possible adverse effect of that particular antibody in the body of living organism. So before we recommend or use any antibiotics, we should be very clear about the mode of action of that antibiotic and the possible adverse effect of that antibody on the body. If we talk about the effect of overproduction and overuse of antibiotics, we know that there are millions of factories which are involved in the manufacturing of these antibiotics. They are also misused by the people. So the misuse of antibiotic can result in the resistance in microbes and resistance against the disease treatment. If we talk about the misuse and their impact, then we will say if someone misuses penicillin, it can cause allergic reaction in the body. If someone uses streptomycin, then it can affect the auditory nerve and permanent deafness can take place. If tetracycline is misused, it can cause the discoloration of the teeth, particularly in young people. That was all about today's topic. Please subscribe our channel and share it with the friends so that you will be provided the notification about the next video. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.